Hey everybody, it's Old School Nerd, and if you're seeing this, this means that our channel hit 25,000 subscribers. That means 25,000 of you are following my little channel, and this whole channel is because of all of you. Your ideas, your suggestions, your comments, your requests. It's really overwhelming. And I told all of you that once we got to 25,000, I had something special for you. I just don't think any of you realize how special it's about to get. Are you ready? Because of all of you, all 25,000 of you, and a little girl named Cassie in Oregon, whose dad asked me to do a reaction for her just a couple months ago for her favorite band, Liliac. The following is for all of you, from me to you, to say thank you. Hold on to your butts. Hey everybody, my name is Old School Nerd, and that guy right there, some of you may know him. That's Papa Liliac right there. I know. The beard dads get together. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay, so first off, thank you so much for coming in. I mean, this is
well,
a really big deal for me.
thank you for having me, man. I really appreciate it. And I appreciate the reactions you do for Liliac's music videos or music, live music. I've seen a couple of them, and it's really great to see the great reaction. Somebody who really loves rock and roll, and I appreciate that.
Now, I could have asked to speak to Sam. I could have, to give him to give him pointers about growing his beard out. But I could have even asked to talk to Justin. But I said, you know what? As a dad, I really want to know how the ultimate rock dad keeps it all together. So I read that you are actually from Eastern Europe. Is that correct?
Yes, I was born in Transylvania, not too far away from the castle of Dracula in
Ah,
Romania,
okay.
and and that's how Liliac comes from.
Because yeah, that's correct. Because Liliac
In
does come from
Romanian.
there. Now, Mama Liliac, where did you meet Mama Liliac?
We met in California,
Really?
Orange County. Yeah, we met at a Romanian church, and we started dating and got married.
Yeah, that's obvious. There's five pieces of evidence on that one. Now, now here's the thing, and this is probably something people don't ask you is because they always want to know about. I'm sure so many questions go to Sam and Melody and Abigail, and even
Mhm.
the two young boys. But what are your musical influences? Because I know that you're a musician too, and that's how this all got started, right?
Well, I'm a music producer, sound engineer, but I started really young, playing in church, playing the accordion in Romanian churches, and that's one of the most famous traditional instrument, and I can still play it now. And keyboard, piano. I used to sing, like Romanian religious music, but then my hunger for music grew so much that later on I started, listening to a lot of good music, pop, rock, and then I started doing music, and I got kicked out of the church, basically.
Ooh, that happens. That does happen. So accordion. See, I was okay. Now here, now I'm going to be honest with you. There's a banjo right over there, so I can't say a whole lot. But I'm a hand percussionist, and I always grew up playing hand percussion and kit drumming. So when I watch Abigail do her stuff, I'm usually like,
Yeah.
I in my reactions, if you watch me, if I'm not too careful, I will get lost in Abigail land just watching her maneuver around her kit and stuff. So
Yeah.
I get that. Now, where I'm from in South Louisiana, you may or may not know that we
Oh,
also have a lot of accordion music in our
wow.
folk music, which is a French German style. It's kind of a
Yeah.
Creole folk that we call Zydeco. Now, The key is that our accordions are only about this big. It's not a
Oh,
full accordion like you would expect from
okay.
a German or an Eastern European polka band. So
Yeah.
I'm assuming probably your favorite bands would be like Steven Seagal's, right?
Well, see, the thing is, like I said, that's how I started. But then later on, I actually, funny enough, that first when I started producing music, because my specialty is to produce music,
Yeah.
was, pop. I did even electronic music, being so famous in Europe. But I always loved, actually, I loved bands like Aerosmith, Bon Jovi, everything that wasn't too heavy. But then later, I started discovering more heavier music, like Metallica and Black Sabbath and Dio, and you know that's what got me hooked onto. And then I started showing my kids, and you know,
So that
there we
so
are.
that's pretty much where it started, right? So you have Sam and Abigail. They're the two oldest, right? Did they catch
Yeah.
that music bug from dad and mom first, or was it really started by Melody when she really got? I know she's really passionate about certain things, but does it really go through all five kids all the way down to like Justin?
Well, see, the thing is, we've listened in the car a lot. I started showing them Queen. That was the first band because I really loved their library of songs. They have so many songs, and my kids were like wowed about it. Wow, hearing Bohemian Rhapsody, hearing Summer Love, and I couldn't introduce them to heavy music right off the bat, but all of them listening together, and then more you listen to it, it kind of deposits in your mind. And then, but see what happened, they kind of started getting their own interest on their own. Like Melody heard me talking about Ronnie James Dio one time at the music store, and next thing she goes home and she studied, and she fell in love with him, and then she's starting watching all his videos and listening to his music, and she fell in love with his the persona of Dio, how he performed, how his vocals. She was always mesmerized by his powerful voice and what he could do. I think Dio's the king of metal, in my opinion.
Well, at least one of the Godfathers. But what gets me is if you weren't already doing enough now with your kids, you start them off, especially with Melody. You're starting her off with Freddie Mercury and Ronnie James Dio. Well,
the
that
yeah,
explains a lot of her passion and power when she's on stage.
yes.
There is no halfway with either one of those two artists. So that makes a lot of sense. So we're getting to understand a little about where it starts from, but I want to know as a dad, okay,
Yeah.
how
Well,
you are able to keep not just one performing child, but five. And these guys started really young. I mean, granted, you have two full grown, able to drink alcohol adults now. And I think is Justin into is just either he just turned 13 or he's about to, right?
oh yeah, he's already
Okay, so he's
13.
13. Okay.
Yeah.
So, I mean, how do you keep these kids so grounded with all the attention? And it's a lot of
Well,
hard work, too.
yeah, it is. It is. So basically, there's two separate things: being a music producer and being a father. Because I haven't, I used to produce artists before I worked with Liliac. I, ran a recording studio. I used to record and mix artists and all kind of genres and all kind of cultures. And but what happened with them, it started with Sam, Abby, and Melody at the beginning. And well, first was Sam, and I used to take him to auditions, living in Los Angeles, in Hollywood, acting. I never thought of him being them being performers, uh, but once he got his braces, he couldn't get roles anymore. He used to get Disney roles, commercials, and things like that. And once he got braces, he couldn't get any more. So then for some reason, I saw that he was interested in music growing around the studio. So I started working with him, like, and he used to do the Michael Jackson improvisation, impersonation. So Abby and Melody wanted to be part of it, so they were kind of backer, like dancing with him. And somebody told me, "Hey, what about you? You take him to the Santa Monica Pier and that's where all the performers go.
Yeah, I've
And
actually been there, and I've seen a lot of people busking out there.
yeah, so on the weekends, because I was working Monday through Friday in my studio, I started taking them, all three of them, and they used to perform pop songs with the karaoke track because they couldn't play instruments at that point. And Samuel used to do the Billie Jean by Michael Jackson, and they used to get big, big crowds, and they started liking that, performing for a crowd.
Wait, okay, hold on, stop. Okay, now. You know what I'm thinking right here. Okay, I'm thinking Sam. I'm looking. Because I'm all I can see is how Sam looks now, and I'm just thinking, okay, Sam.
He had short hair back then. He was
Okay,
young.
okay, and then Billie Jean, and I could see him doing the steps and the move and the never mind.
The
Okay,
moonwalk and the moonwalk. He was really good. And for
really,
a white kid, he was really good.
that's great stuff. Okay, now we get to the serious part. Okay, so we know how you get them to inspire them, but what I'm trying to figure out is I know that it's got to be this last year has had to have been hard for Liliac because you can't really go on the road because of COVID and
Yeah.
and and I can imagine the pressures of being on the road in front of crowds. I mean, you've already been on national TV so many times it hurts, but then now you're telling the kids, "Okay, we're going to go home. We're going to keep doing what we do, but you're just not going to do it in front of a lot of people anymore." You have 5 kids, and I have 3 daughters, as you can see with my shirt. You can't scare me. I've got 3 daughters. You should
That's
have
a
a
good
shirt
one.
too that says something along those lines. But I know your kids have to be each individual people. They must have different interests and
Oh yeah,
different.
they
Yeah.
do. They
So
do.
I'm assuming that both you and Mama Liliac, it must be a full time job being able to get just try to balance all of that, especially with COVID. Because I know I have 3 daughters, and it's hard for me to just try to deal with all the questions they must be having.
Yeah. Well, I did once. You know, the Rainbow in the Dark music video went viral. They were on right before they were on TV, and then they got on the TV show. We got a whole tour in 2019, touring the USA and Canada. So I actually booked them the whole show because I mean the whole tour, and I never had experience because I was always a studio musician and producer. But I was thinking like, well, everybody's asking, hey, we want to book you. How much? I looked it up online. How much I should ask for. What it costs. For hotels, for traveling. So how much the ticket sells, and we had a very very successful tour on our own. Um, and we got on the Kiss cruise, opening up for Kiss.
I saw that.
They've I mean we've had no the most important thing is that we haven't had any accident on the way, and it was just me and the kids. My wife stayed home to do the shipping and stuff, with a big 15 passenger van, a trailer full of equipment, and going from city to city. I mean, I booked them and traced the whole USA. We were gone for 4 months, me and 5 kids, and the little ones had school. I had to make sure they had a MiFi, so they could hotspot for
Yeah.
their laptops to do their school
Hmm.
while we're driving. And I mean, I took that opportunity because I said it's either now or never. Even though I thought that we're not ready for it yet, because I always thought that probably later on when they're older they're ready, professional. But I said, what's gonna happen? I mean, what about if this won't come around anymore? So I did take a big chance, and that really uh, solidify us with the fans that now we have a huge fan base around the world. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of fans.
I know because whenever I do a reaction, the number of people that come up from Australia, Japan, a lot of
Yeah,
Europeans, the
yeah.
Nordic Scandinavian countries, but also you'll see a lot of the comments. I didn't know about this band, and I'm like, how do you not know about this band? But it all came down to dads. Okay, you're a dad, I'm a dad, and so it wound up being another dad, a dad in Oregon who had a little daughter, and my first Liliac reaction was because listen, my daughter Cassie loves Liliac, and she wants you to react to Liliac Mars, and you got to do Liliac Mars. And they asked me for weeks, and then finally I did it, and I went, oh, thank God I did this song because they're playing. Now, granted, Mars is theirs. That's an original, and I love the new.
Yeah.
I like the stuff off Queen of Hearts. I really like the album. Listen to them all, and
Thank
I'm gonna tell you who my two favorites are. But they're really iconic for doing these amazing, classic, big, epic rock covers, right?
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you my two favorite Liliac songs that are their originals right now, and why. My first one was Mystery, which is the bottom
Oh,
track on this.
wow.
Okay, no. There's a reason
That's a good
why.
one.
On my channel, I do a lot of Nightwish. And
Oh,
because Justin gets to really stylize and put a lot of his keyboards in the arrangement,
yeah.
and that epic sound of Mystery, that beginning and the just a lot of the keyboards that really build the epicness of the
Yeah.
songs, it reminded me of Nightwish. And also, when I saw a live performance of Mystery, Sam was whipping his hair like Floor Jansen doing that Dutch windmill, and I'm like, "You're gonna hurt your neck, son." But uh, I love that one. That one reminds me of kind of
Yeah.
a more Nightwish feel, which I really love. But I'm a sucker for an acoustic one, so you can imagine how much I gravitated to Sail Away.
Oh, wow.
So both
Yeah.
of those songs on the album I really like because they both mean something to me. But before we, I have two more things before I let you go because I know you've got meetings this afternoon because there's always something Liliac going, right?
Well, that's at 5 o'clock, so that's why I wanted to push it at 3 o'clock, so we could have enough time to
Cool.
talk about this.
Here's my two big questions. How do you take care of the gloriousness right here? How do you do that? Do you do beard
Well,
balm? Do you just wash and condition? Do you oil? What do you do?
well, I love Vikings as well as Vampire and Dracula is our, it's from our country and everything. So basically, uh, I we have a lot of great fans. On my birthday, guess what I get from fans? Instead of, like Lilac has fans, I have fans too. In other words, so they make me gifts like, uh, for example, the beard wash, the Viking right here.
That's what I use.
Oh, okay,
I
there
use
you go.
Viking products too. I use the beard balm, the beard
The beard
oil. That's
conditioner,
exactly what
I said.
I use.
Oh, wow. So we're on the same page.
See, I'm
And then,
telling you, it's this is all meant to be. You see, real dads with real beards use real Viking products. Well, that's a
yeah,
slogan if I've ever heard one. So, okay, what is Sam doing here? Because when I see your smile and I see your eyes, when you
yeah.
shave it, when you didn't have one, you and Sam look a lot alike, right?
I heard that a lot. Well, actually, he shaved on Abby's birthday because Abby and Melody was like, "Hey," but in my opinion, I like that musketeer look that he
Yeah,
has with the mustache and
yeah, the
maybe
little,
not so
little
much the goatee, but the mustache and a little bit of he kind of gives them a little more maturity. In other words, so I'm really a person that doesn't push the kids. Like even when the girls, if they want a piercing or tattoo, I'm okay. My wife, on the other hand, no, don't do it, or you know.
Hey, someone's got to
So
keep you guys straight, seriously.
yeah,
Because, yeah,
yeah,
mama's there to make sure, hey, get out of the clouds. We live on Earth, guys. We live on Earth. We're just a family here. We're just a family, which is important. Now, we've talked about the beards.
yeah,
Let's talk about the biggest fear that you and I both have as dads. Sam's fine. Sam's going to be great.
yeah,
And Justin's got a long way to go. Ethan's still pretty young, but now you've got two, and I have beautiful daughters. You have
yeah.
two beautiful daughters. They're getting older.
It's tough.
Do you need a place to dispose of bodies? If you do, we in South Louisiana, the bad boyfriends just disappear over here. I can hook
Oh,
you
okay.
up.
The
So
swamp is big in Louisiana. Huh?
it is, and the gators are hungry. How do you? I mean, the the attention must be intense for them. And how do you? Oh, I know how it is for my girls, and my
Yeah.
girls aren't all over social media and everywhere like yours are.
Well, see, the thing is, as a band, they are, and well, Abigail is more active on her personal Instagram
Mm-hmm.
mostly and Facebook. Melody, on the other hand, she's very mysterious. Even when she posts something, she doesn't like to post herself, like doing selfies, or it's either something very interesting or weird, or I don't know how to say it. She's different with her. Even though she likes fashion and she likes doing her makeup and all that stuff, especially performing on stage. But she's interesting with her style. I mean, I even told her, try to make your Instagram like post more often. And she said, okay, I will. But when she posts, if something comes to her that is very interesting or weird, it's like her writing the lyrics. It's very, I used to write lyrics for them before, and now I let her do it because my lyrics are so simple, are very like lovey-dovey type of, because I used to be a songwriter and I still am. But she's very deep. I don't know, from listening to Dion, great music, probably because of that. She has very interesting things in her mind. But with the dating, it was tough, especially like a year, 2 years ago when Abigail started dating. And I mean, it's still not easy, but you know, it's not easy, man.
Why can't my
It's
kids go through
not easy.
awkward stages till they're older? But no, they got to be pretty now. Okay, so you're right about Abigail's posts are very just whatever's going on. Whereas I see when Melody posts, it's either something obscure or sometimes I notice she'll post things that she times it to where she knows something's coming up artistically with the band or some of the stuff when they post or like when your social media accounts like the one that I spoke to speak to you when they post
Yeah,
something with Melody it usually coincides or with the kids usually coincides with something big. It's never just to do it. There's always a purpose behind it, which I think is really cool.
yeah.
Here's one for you. Now we've talked about Abigail, we've talked about Sam. I talk about Sam all the time because he's way too talented for his own good. But
He's a hard worker.
and
Sam
we
is a
talk about
super hard worker.
Melody. Now, Ethan. Ethan literally switched instruments in the middle of you guys getting big, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Now, he
and
started off his guitar. He
yeah,
transitioned over to bass, which freed Melody up to do more front person work.
yes,
Now,
yes,
when I my first reaction I did notice that Ethan at the time when he played his bass, I made a note of it. I was like, if you
yeah,
guys are noticing that he's missing some transitions or some of his notes, it's not because he can't play it. It's because that bass is huge in his little hands. But I know he's
yeah,
grown. And then I made the comment on the next video I saw from the show in Georgia where he was just like all over. And I'm like, okay, when you get there, he's much more comfortable.
yeah,
Now, Melanie and Abigail and Sam learned how to, they honed their craft before
yeah.
you guys got big. Whereas Ethan and your youngest son, oh my God, he's learning all of this stuff. Justin is learning so much stuff, and you guys are already big right now. Does that concern you at all? Him being so young and having to take all that pressure?
Well, it's kind of like we seize the moment, so we never think of, because I remember when at the beginning everybody used to, friends of mine, even musicians, get rid of the little kids. There's no rock band with they're too young. And I'm a person that I don't want to leave anybody behind. And I
No.
know times goes by. And I know when I was a teenager, when you reach 13, 14, that's when you really want to do something. You want to, people pay attention to you. And I said, if I bring them along, and have them, play and have them. Of course, they can't practice as much as the other ones because they still have school, and but they're getting better and better. And Ethan, especially Ethan, even his teacher said he really has a talent. The way he grips and the way he holds the instrument. And actually, I'm really happy I got him on the bass because I'm really, really happy. I'm recording him doing the bass, and his timing is really, really, really good. I mean,
He
I'm really
reminds me of a little
surprised.
Michael Anthony.
Michael, and
If you've
yes,
ever seen
yes,
when
yes,
he
yes.
just when he does that thing and he pops his head back and he's just he's in the groove. It just reminds me of because my first metal concert, first rock concert ever, was Van Halen, and it
Oh
was the
man, one of my
first
favorites.
tour with Sammy Hagar. So to see Michael Anthony is the first bass player you ever saw at a rock show live as a 12-year
Yeah,
old kid. Now I was 12, which means I was just about the same age as Justin. I just remember that made me say, okay, I want to learn how to play an instrument. Of course, I gravitated to drums. Still not sure why, but I did. Um, I think it's for all the people who've told you that maybe you shouldn't bring the little ones along. I think it's good that you did for two reasons. Number one, it really gives a family feel. You guys are
Yes.
a
Yeah.
family. You're a team. You shouldn't. You should. I
I
don't
know.
think. I don't think you could put anyone in there to. You could put musicians in there if let's say if you didn't want to bring Justin along or even Ethan, but then it wouldn't be the dynamic that it is. I mean, some of the draw of it is the fact that you get up there and you're seeing young people, you know,
Yeah.
20, 21, 22, 21, all the way down to 13 now, and you're
Yeah.
going, what am I doing with my life? Because it's like when I was 13, I couldn't do that. So I think it's awesome. So speaking of awesome,
Yeah.
and this is going to be my last question to you. Are you guys out of your minds? I have done so many reactions to so many amazing rock classic covers, and it's one of your biggest draws. Doing all
Yeah.
these amazing covers gets people into the door, and all of a sudden they're like, hey, they got their own stuff, and it's really cool too. You guys have done Dio, you've done Iron Maiden, you've done Janis Joplin, you've done Joan Jett. Really? Metallica. And not
Yeah.
just, you didn't just do Enter Sandman. Oh no, we're going to do technically the hardest song in their early career. I mean, you're talking about the intricacies of Master of Puppets. Now, to do that, how do you compensate for the fact that you have James and Kurt with that double guitar phrasing? How does Sam approach that?
Well, see, the thing is, we did Enter Sandman. That was the first song
Yeah,
that went viral.
I did see that one, but
And actually, right now, YouTube has almost 9 million views. But that's I discovered Metallica with the Black Album, and I know that a lot of people love Metallica from the beginning albums. I always thought that James Hetfield, I'm my specialty was a vocal music producer. I used to record all kind of singers, and to be honest, I'm probably better than Simon Cowell to judge if a voice is good or not
that's not
because I
saying much.
produce vocals.
That stays here, by the way.
Okay, yeah.
That's not
So I
saying
mean, we
much.
were on America's Got Talent, and we got to meet and see Simon Cowell. But uh, you know, I mean, he had success producing some, the One Direction and
Yeah,
the Boyle, and after that he signed so many, and nothing really happened. Actually, probably he ruined their career. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is that uh, I think that James Hetfield was more screaming instead of singing
yeah,
before the Black Album.
yeah. He was, but
So
they were just so fly by the seat of their pants. The chaos of becoming what they were, but the Black Album
exactly,
was where they kind of started to become more commercially
yeah,
visible.
that
But
anybody could like him.
because you're going back, not
We're
only are
going
you
back.
going back to one album, you're going back two albums. And I know as a Metallica fan, and if you're into Metallica as well, but you discovered them in the Black Album, that this is back when Cliff Burton was still alive. So not only
I
is
know.
Ethan's got to step up, but it's considered by most Metallica fans to be the best Metallica because it shows so much of the range before they were commercial.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to March. I'm looking
I
forward
know.
to
I know.
this. I'm
It wasn't easy, man. I'm
no,
telling you, it
I'm
was the
sure you've heard it a
hardest.
few times. I'm sure they've practiced the snot out of it.
Oh man, it was
Do,
the hardest song we could ever do, and the longest song,
yeah.
and it's tough.
Okay, so how do they do with it? Do you like the way they do it?
So yes, I like the end, the final product. But see, the thing is, we you know there's a steel factory in Long Beach, California, and they were like, I'm building Abigail a drum riser that
Oh,
costs $1,200.
okay.
If you guys do a music video here, a metal song, then we will waive the money.
Well, of
And I was
course, we're
like,
gonna go
okay.
play a song now.
And I was like, okay, let's do a music video. We get a music video, and if we don't have to pay anybody for location. And then we thought, well, which songs do we do? And that's metal. So we did a poll on Facebook, I think, or YouTube. Which songs would you guys want to choose? And everybody wanted to go Master of Puppets, and I was like, the hardest and the longest song.
I think y'all got
So
trolled a little bit, but if you prove everyone wrong, then Liliac may have the next big pop. Because we all know that there are songs when they did Iron Maiden on CBS, it freaked
yeah,
out a lot of people. And of course,
yes,
everyone
it was a
loves
standing ovation.
every every Dio song. If Melody pops off with Janis Joplin or Joan Jett, everyone's gonna be like, "That's her." But this is another one of those songs that
Yeah.
if your arrangement is good, considering your makeup, because Metallica doesn't have a keyboard player either, but and Ethan's got to step up. I'm looking forward to it because I just don't know how your arrangement and the changes because of you only have one guitarist, how that's going to play out.
Well, yeah, it's not. See, that's the thing. Is we did the keyboard to be one of the. Is this the same riffs like the guitar on the right side? So on the left side you have the guitars, and on the right side you have the keyboard. So it gives a little vamp Transylvanian kind of like you say you like Nightwish. We'll hear
Uh,
some keyboards that's gonna complement the other guitar. And actually, even in the teaser, a lot of people can hear already, and they're like, "Whoa, that sounds different. It sounds like it's a interesting vibe they're bringing to it." The hardest part was, especially for Sam, because he has all those fast riffs, and I heard that Metallica actually played it at a slower tempo, and they speed up the tape.
yeah, for their original recording, they did.
And we don't have a tape. We got to record at the same speed. So it's 212. And I remember Samuel practiced it, and he passed 2 weeks, and I was like, Sam, come on, when are we gonna do it?
Like,
And
my
he was like,
hands
Dad,
hurt.
this is super hard. And yeah, his hands were like, so he worked on that song probably the hardest and the most that he could ever work on a song to match the speed and have a clear, because he knows I'm very picky on when you record, it has to be crystal clear. You can't just miss notes or play it whatever you want. You need to be good.
As someone who's passionate about arrangement, like I am, and of course you must be as a music producer,
Yeah.
you'll see my reactions to other bands, and I'll sit there and I'm not even listening to the person singing. I'm really not. I'm listening to the band, how they're pulling their dynamic in the arrangement and how the story is being told musically as well. And when you tell me that you're introducing the keyboards into certain parts of the guitar for that song, I'm starting to
Yeah.
see it. Because even if Sam is pushing that power riff, that very fast riff, those little flutter taps and hooks and those little tags on the ends of verses and measures that Kurt
Yeah.
was doing, if you're having, I mean, it's
A
almost
keyboard.
perfect. Your keyboard can jump in there and do that stuff. And if you're doing it kind of in that little Nightwish / Transylvania,
Yes.
it's gonna
Yes.
be something special. I'm
Yes, I
looking
think
forward
it
to
is.
it. That is
It is
awesome.
different. I mean, we're gonna have people that are true Metallica fans. They're gonna be like,
Eh,
they're already saying there's no keyboards in Metallica. But what are we gonna do with Justin? Have him sit on the curb? I mean, I told him learn all the, and him and Sam worked together. So he told him what notes, and then he learned it, and then he started practicing it, and then that's how he was.
well,
And Melody, on the other hand, I kind of let her bring her own vibe because I didn't want her to scream the song like Jim Seppi, and I wanted her to sing the song. So it sounds almost like Black Sabbath would sing Metallica, if you can get that
no,
vibe
I
of the
totally
vocal.
get that because I've seen people do covers of, well, it was a cover of one, and I also heard another cover of For Whom the Bell Tolls.
Yeah,
And For Whom the Bell Tolls and Master of Puppets are very much the same type of James Hetfield, but they
yeah,
did it in a kind of a lower, but it was vocal. It wasn't a growl. It was a very vocal performance. And when you're dealing with a song like Master of Puppets, with the
yeah,
subject matter, when you're dealing with addiction, I think
yeah,
it may actually reach people that didn't, that the original won't reach because they're so busy enjoying this, they're not going,
yeah.
oh, I didn't know that that's what those words were. Because some people don't. I mean, it's pretty
Yeah.
intense song. So that comes out when March
5th,
the 5th.
March
I
5th
almost
on
said the
Friday.
4th, but if I'm early, I'll go for it.
Yeah, I think it's the 5th. That's a Friday. We usually like to release stuff on Fridays. Like the movies are released on Fridays, and that same thing with the songs. And the music video is phenomenal. We shot it. I shot it and directed it with, and then we had a drone guy film it too. It was in the factory,
Kind of
and
floating over. That's nice.
you could see some of those welding sparks that the workers were working on cutting the metal, and so we kind of gave that vibe, which is going to be great. It's just a long, long song, and I'm
Very
not
long.
used to doing a lot of songs. And to be honest, I'm glad that you pointed out Mystery and Sail Away, which, are two of my favorite songs too. If you think about it, a lot of our songs kind of have the verse, pre chorus, chorus, verse, chorus, what do you call the
Bridge.
solo, bridge, and then again you get back to the chorus. And Mystery and Sail Away, it actually has the verse, chorus, it has the solo bridge, and then it changes. It goes into something else.
But that's why I like it, because
And
the arrangement changes, the timing, and these.
same thing with a Sail Away. It changes the timing,
Yeah.
the tempo, and everything. And the song is so complete. That's what Metallica used to do. They would change Megadeth too. In the middle of the song, they would change to something else, and
Also,
still be cool.
okay, now because you're a music producer, you know this. I have said this many times. You literally just said what I've said in reactions, and people are like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, it's the classic formula of commercial music industry music:
Yeah.
verse, chorus, bridge, solo, reprisal chorus to the
Yeah.
crescendo, and then your ending is your classic thing. And Metallica was never on the radio until they
No.
went to that formula with the Black Album. And
Yeah.
Rush was never on that. I mean, Rush was doing 20-minute, 25-minute songs.
Yeah.
But once they got to moving pictures, and
Yeah.
permanent waves, and they started doing that commercial formula, then all of a sudden,
Then they
oh,
got on
this
the
is
radio.
Rush. So even though I'm used to the formula and you see it all the time, I guess I do gravitate like you do. I love Mystery. I love Sail Away, because any song that breaks the mold catches me, because I
Well,
want to
Melody
see the
said,
change.
on the Chin of Thorns, probably like 80% of, especially the lyrics and melody lines, were kind of me, and 20% was them. On the Queen of Hearts, it switched because my intention was to teach them how to write songs. I would have them, watch me how we write it. So we write it together, and then on the Queen of Hearts, they got so good, and the tour helped them so much and mature them. It was unbelievable. I took a back seat, and then I was, and Melody right now on the third album, she told me she wants, when they write this album, just whatever it comes, no more structure, like, like we said, the commercial. She really but she said, I want catchy hooks, and like Dio had, but I don't want it to be. She just wants to, and I really want to see that. Actually, the next album I think is gonna be one of the best album. Even though Queen of Hearts really raised the bar,
Yeah.
each song is good, but I'm just looking forward to see them really let it come out of them the way it comes.
I would love to see in the next album, um, even Queen of Hearts, no songs sound alike. I mean, they're all very
Yeah,
different, very good, which is important,
very
because the
important.
quickest way to get into that sophomore album rut that so many bands have done, they always have that one album that their debut album is so dynamic, and all of a sudden they can never get out of that pigeonhole. And so once that second album comes out, they're kind of like, oh. But Queen of Hearts really, really seemed to be, every song was different. And once you can do that, you're like, okay, guys, what do y'all want to do this song? And they're just like, can we do this? And you're like, let's do it. And see, I think I'm looking
Well, the
forward to this.
quarantine, the quarantine really helped us because right after America's Got Talent, the pandemic hit. That's why we couldn't continue. So we worked that whole time, and we got it done and released on October 30th. So being at home, we just experimented and just tried this and tried that, and if I don't feel it, we wouldn't release it. So the way I am, I go by feeling. I don't really go by anything else. When I listen to it, I want to feel it inside. I want to feel good, and if I don't feel good, there's something's wrong. So we go and re-record it or redo it, or so when it feels good, I know it's right. I go by my gut.
That is so awesome. Well, Papa
I never
Liliac.
went to school. I never went to school for engineering, for producing. I went as an intern to learn the tricks of the trade. But after I saw the how they work, and then I bought the equipment and I started myself and working with clients and see what they wanted. I just had the touch of, and I always went by my gut and by my feeling. I still don't even know all the names of the EQs and compression, how many kilohertz you need, but I hear it, and if it's too much, I cut it. If I need more, I boost it. So I
Well,
go by that.
you can get into it from the technical side, but still to this day, some of the best audio engineers are the apprentice craftsman style. I mean, it's you learn by doing. Some of the best mixing boards are still analog, and people don't understand. Like, why don't you just do it digitally? Because that analog board, especially if you're doing rock, you want that imperfection. Because imperfection is perfect. My
Yeah.
request at some point is I would love to see an acoustic song with all the kids and I would love to hear an acoustic song that is a folk Transylvanian style song that's just for dad. I mean, that's what I want to hear. That I want to.
Well, there is one that I did. Was it 2 years ago?
Yeah.
And it's on YouTube. Not from Liliac's account. In Romanian, I wrote a song for my wife. It was for her birthday, a love song, and I had them play all the instruments. And you should search it.
You're way too good at this. You do realize that, right?
But
You're making all
there's
the dads look bad right now. It's bad enough you still look as good as you do after touring with 5 kids in a van. You should have more gray than me, and look at you. You look.
I do have gray. I do have gray on the sides. But there's an acoustic concert, online concert that we're working on to release very soon.
I'm gonna
Which
I'm
is
gonna
gonna
watch
be
every bit of it.
it's gonna be every song is gonna be acoustic. Abigail is gonna play on the cajon. Samuel's
Got
gonna
one.
play acoustic guitar. Huh?
I'm actually starting. People, I have my reaction channel, and obviously you've seen it. I actually am working on my first 20 videos, recording them. I'm doing a cajon accompaniment channel. I take
Oh wow.
songs that people ask, and I make it a cajon accompaniment to whatever they ask for. And they have asked me
Wow.
for ridiculous songs that should not be played on the cajon.
Wow.
I'm just like, I'm going to figure this out. And we figure it out. And that's going to be launching soon. So it's funny that you
Wow.
mentioned her playing a cajon, because then now I'm going to be like, I'm doing that one because she's already learned how to do it. So I'm just going to, there you go. Well, Papa
Yeah.
Liliac.
And because Liliac is endorsed by Sawtooth
Yeah.
and Rudy Sarzo, who played for Quiet Riot,
Mhm.
Whitesnake, Ozzy Osbourne, the bass player. He created a bass acoustic guitar that it's almost like an electric guitar. Even the neck is long, the same size, but it's acoustic. And they gave it to us, and it sounds so good. I've been recording, Ethan playing it, and it's even the feel of it is like you're playing an electric, but it's acoustic.
He if you ever seen the video I did, Nightwish did an acoustic song called The Islander.
Uh
And
huh.
their bass player, who just took a hiatus, um, he was playing it's an acoustic bass. It looks like an electric bass, but it is amazing. And he played it live, and it was like,
Wow.
I'm just like, but it was impressive to see. But no, I know exactly the guitar you're talking about. So well, that was 45 minutes.
Oh, it was? Well,
Yeah,
I don't know. I don't keep
yeah,
track of time.
blah, 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 blah. See, when dads talk about their kids, there is no time. Let's talk about our kids. Well, from one bearded dad to another, Papa Liliac, thank you so much for joining us today. It
Well,
really
thank
means a
you,
lot to
Richard,
me.
man. Appreciate it.
And keep that going nice and smooth.
Oh yeah, I want to let it grow a little longer so I could do some stuff with it.
Set that bar, bro. Set that bar. Okay, so March 5th, Master of
Master of
Puppets.
Puppet.
I'm
Yeah.
doing my reaction as soon as it's live. I'm doing it, and I look forward to seeing it. Everyone, that guy right there, that's Papa Liliac. I'm Old School Nerd, and I thank you very much, sir.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, and keep rocking, man.
Every
Have some
day,
reaction coming.
every day. All right, buddy.
Well,
See you
thanks,
later.
buddy.
Thank you, sir.
All right, take
All right,
care.
bye.
Bye bye.